Greetings, fellow targeted individuals. I apologize if this video doesn't come out good or if the sound quality isn't good. I've spent the entire day trying to make this video, and on 3 other computers I cannot even use a video editor. Nothing works. So hopefully this video come out okay. I've been a targeted individual for 27 years, since 1996, over a U.S. Air Force investigation. It's a long story, but it led to me being targeted by the Central Intelligence Agency and a variety of interagency partners. So I'm going to play a video here in a moment. If you're already a targeted individual, you may not want to watch this, or you may just want to skip around. You may learn something, because I'm going to share quite a few video clips. Some of these clips may be confirmation for you concerning your targeting, and also give you some awareness of some strategies the enemy may utilize to try to destroy your quality of life. So I'm going to go ahead and start it now. Let me go to about 15 seconds. So right here, I'm in my car. Hold on one second.
So let's see what happens.
So I'm in my car right now in this clip. You can hear me say, let's see what happens. And I have videos where I tell people that once I go into the library, someone walks up to me, does something weird, they whistle in my face sometimes, or as I'm exiting, there'll be 4 or 5 people and they go, and they suddenly leave in vehicles that have no tag, maybe wearing suits, just some really weird stuff. So I no longer go to the local community college where I live at. And they have a public library. It's the only one in this county that has two-story library. I get harassed there by groups of people that were elderly people, masons, veterans, and people wearing suits. So check this out.
So, I tell people in this video before I started that every time I come to the library that I'm having these really weird experiences, and it's right as I'm about to go in where some people, hold on a second. Documentaries and stuff going on here. It's like, sitting next to me with kids and tapping on the arm and saying, hey, start whistling.
So let me see if I can skip this a little bit.
Going in.
Now I'm going in.
And there's a bathroom.
I'm wearing a DVR camera watch, so it's going to come up sideways. There's a door right there. So you may have to wear some headphones to hear it. You may have to raise the volume more. So I'm wearing a DVR camera watch, so everything's going to be sideways. As you go into the school, there's 2 double doors. Then there's an area there where there's a bathroom on the far left side. And as the lady opens the door, she's looking at me, and she's going in like this right here, sideways. Instead of going straight in, she, as I'm going in the door, she has the door in her hand, and she goes, psst, and then she closes the door. So let me see if it comes up, the sound, so you can hear it. Heard it?
Now, I recorded this every single time I'm going there.
So they
they
try to catch you off guard, and they try to do things when you least expect it. And it's only happening when I'm carrying my cell phone. And there were times where I'd be wearing a body camera. And then the exact moment I would stand up after an hour being there, not detecting not one noise, the guy in the suit would be like, shh, and then they would walk out as I do. And I would notice a man wearing a suit and an elderly woman parked in a vehicle right next to my vehicle and leaving as I did. This went on for like 2.5 years at this library. Even the security told me I was being flagged. This was going on even when I went to other libraries. And in Texas, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I reported life-threatening harassment. It was crazy. The first week I went to the library at this community college in the county where I live at the public library, some girls, they were not students, As I'm exiting, there's a guy playing this thing of the Havana soundtrack. I asked him, what the heck is that noise? And he told me it's the soundtrack of the Havana attack in Cuba. So I go in the library. I had to get my paper and pen, and an hour later I leave. And guess what happens? They were holding back this guy. And there was a bunch of young guys, I would say under 23 years old. They were holding back this one guy. And as I exit, this guy goes, psst. When I go to my car, two people walk out and go, psst. So I noticed this crap happening at gas stations. I was being harassed in places, and people were telling me at gas stations, hey, we were told that there's a guy driving this direction, driving in this car, and if you see him with a certain type of hat, whistle in his face, call him a pedophile. We want him out of the community. So I started using Eagle Security Unlimited and started finding these people in white vans with a desk, with a box, with all this, these antennas and all this stuff. They were using Stingray technology. They're tracking people. They're harassing people. And that's how my life was destroyed in Austin, Texas, every single day.
Going there. And
so they harass you at school, where you eat at, where you shop at, when you park a car, when you get your mail, when you take a walk. They even get neighbors involved in this. It's taken a year for it to tone down, a past year for it to tone down.
Or she whistles. And it goes on. Non-stop. And I've been telling people that this was going on as I'm entering and exiting live.
I got videos where it's every time I go to a gas station. Every single time. Same thing in Texas. So it stopped. Instead of me hearing like 20 whistles every time I went to the gas station, I haven't heard a whistle. Now whistling is common. If I hear someone whistle, I don't care. But if I see someone going into a place and they walk up to me and go, psst, then suddenly walk out, then I know they're a perp. And though I have cops, this is no joke, sometimes they'll bring out of town cops, they'll use CERT members, so they're trying to entrap people. Even the radio dispatch records mention my tag, my name, calling it a high-risk operation. So they do this for years, harassing people for years and years with no due process, and they try to make people sick. If someone did this crap to them and their family, it would piss them off.
Ferries, I have weird stuff occur, like people in suits parked around my vehicle, exiting the exact moment I'm leaving the library, and then like they're getting there right when I'm getting there. They're in their cars for over an hour, and then once I get out of the library, they walk up to me and go, shh, and then leave. Just made no sense at all. So that's at the local library, and I have a lot of other videos. Way more than that. What I'm sharing with you guys is trash. Hold on 1 second. So I parked my car and there's no one at this park. And I noticed this lady.
So I go to this park and there's no one there. And then all of a sudden I see a flash from a camera. And I look and I'm assuming that the person's taking a picture of the surrounding area. Well, I have some other videos where this woman and a child sit behind my vehicle and they got other people. They try to do these social exclusion tactics, social sanctioning. So, let's say I'm facing the water and every time a car would come this side and that side. So that way they would make me feel like I have no privacy. So while I'm eating a burger, instead of all the cars are typically 100% of the time facing the lake, they'd park this way in front of my car. So that way I feel like I don't have any privacy. That way it's like, hey, we're watching you. Even when you're not doing anything, even when you're with family, just enjoying a sandwich.
I'm in the vehicle, I see a flash from a phone. So I'm going to go ahead and just... Now this is typically where I would park at. And there's this lady named Randy Brown that would park further down here. And this is the area I parked at for years. This is where I would come and like if I was going to have lunch, I would bring my...
Yeah, now this lady, Randy Brown, I had encounters with this lady so much it was sickening. It was all the time. It was went on for years. That I actually made a chart, and I have 3 years of calendars where it shows what day, what time and day I'm going to go to the park. 1:12, 3:18, 4:16. And guess who would show up minutes later, a minute or two later, or seconds later? This lady. it had reached a point where this guy that I used to go fishing with from this church told me, this lady's watching you. Why don't you go to the police? So when I go to the police, this police officer lives down the road from my house. He said, your matter is a civil matter. And he gave me a one-sentence report. This went on for years, systematically being harassed. People harassing me, their veterans and their kids harassing me. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I was sick of it, freaking sick of it. There was times I'd be eating with family, and these people would come in SUVs, and they'd go, I go to the bathroom, I drive to Lakeland, Florida, or Plant City to take a walk or go biking on a bike trail, I'd get harassed out there. And there'd be a lady in a black SUV dropping off an elderly person, and this is no joke. In Texas, I have a cashier that I still communicate with every 6-7 months. And I have video proof of a lady in a black SUV dropping off elderly people, telling them to put my food in a bag. While I'm seated down waiting for my food, they came in 2 minutes later, telling them to please put his food in a bag. And then when I go to the city hall, guess who shows up? This same exact lady that was with this elderly man that was dropped off. Then they get back in the SUV and then they leave. They go to another place in another area of Texas and show up. They would drop off people in black suits, and they'd come to my school in Texas, in Cybertex. They'd go, shh. My teacher was like, you're targeted. I never even told them. He said the city of Austin wasn't even supporting it. So I'm still, this is all I'm sharing now is Florida, though.
Sandwich from Publix and eat half of it and then go home. So let me keep going on. She would stay around for like a long time, just kind of like observing me. And then behind me, I see the same exact thing, a guy with a camera, and I see it flash really, really bright. So I look back, I notice that he looks back and he waves.
So yeah, there's a guy back there. I don't know if it's going to come out too good, but he's right here on the side. And I'm enjoying the ambiance of the lake. I'm not bothering no one. Typically, I'll read my Bible 10-15 minutes, or I'll have a Subway sandwich, have half of it, and then I leave and just enjoy looking at the birds and boaters. A lot of locals go there just to enjoy the ambiance. But in the afternoon, I like to go because hardly no one's there except boaters in the summertime. So this guy, I noticed that his wife got out of the vehicle multiple times and kept grabbing his arm, like, let's go, let's go. So that made me think. I got a lady behind me with flash on that I've seen at this place before, has been at this park, so she's not a tourist. Then I got a guy behind me with the flash on, but it's pointed at my vehicle directly. When you can go up and take a beautiful picture of the lake, why towards my car? Why would you want to take a picture of a lake with my car blocking the view when you can just take it from the side? So I put 2 and 2 together. I was being surveilled. Why would that lady be constantly trying to grab her husband and drag him in the car?
So there was no one there except these 2 people, and it was just really weird. So I'm going to, let me see here, where is it at? There's another video here. Here it is right here. Hopefully I'll be able to share this video about this lady named Randy Bram.
Okay, so this car says National High School Scholars Association. It has a sticker for this county. For students and teachers, they normally will have this. And a NASA sticker and a sheriff's label right here. The lady's not a sheriff. So this lady, this car here, another car were lined up perfectly. I'll typically park in this field about 100 yards away. And all it is just a parking lot. And they were lined up. And I noticed them flagging each other a few times and pointing at my car. And one day I seen a cop duck down behind a fence. The same cop that did my first police report in Florida concerning Randy Bram. And it was really interesting. About 8 months ago, I'm driving down the road, and any day I went to this certain stop sign, this lady with short feminist hair, Randy Bram, she drives a black BMW, she would show up at that stop sign. And then I'll go 2 miles down the road, and the same lady with short feminist haircut with a U.S. government tag like Randy Brown would show up at the same stop sign in 2 different places, same people, repetitively. I'm like, it defies the probability of an event. There was days I would put down at 3:18, I'm going to pass by here. The next day, 8:45 in the morning, I'm going to get me some waffles at a place down the road. And guess who'd be at this same exact stop sign? No other car except this lady and another lady at 2 different places. And it was always when I had my cell phone on. So I have videos when I was in Texas. You have to go through my City of Austin video files channel and go to the very bottom and click on the City of Austin playlist, and I have videos to other channels. And I have one where it shows people wearing NASA shirts, NASA stickers in Texas, showing up at different places, surveilling me, sometimes with no tags. So the National High School Scholars Association works with the Central Intelligence Agency. They outsource. And Randy Brown, lady that was nearby at the time, was all the time harassing me pretty much. This lady is tied to Israelis. And I have videos where I'm going to a certain gas station. Actually, it's not a gas station. It's a convenience store. It's down the road from my residence. You got to pass the lake. You get to the light. You get to there's like a sign for this town that I live in, and then there's a pawn shop, a convenience store next to it, and right next to the convenience store is an eyelash place for women. And this lady with this Star David sticker, she's Israeli, and a Florida Sheriff's Association sticker on her car would repeatedly show up as I arrived for like a year. Sometimes she would scream active shooter. I would hit the ground. I'm like, oh my God, we got a dangerous armed person here. So she was actually talking about me. I don't even have a gun on me. I'm just there to buy some food and leave. So I was being harassed by Jews at the park, even in different areas of Florida. And I have even videos here from this week. So if you're a target, please turn off your cell phone as much as possible when you're out.
This is the far left side of the park, and if you go about 100 yards, this is area of a park. It's actually not a park, it's a parking lot that I would park at. And I noticed this on a very cloudy day, where you can't even see the sun, you just see the light. This lady would put her chair here, near by her muffler, and just sit there looking at the back of her car. Her car says National High School Scholars Association. She has a NASA sticker, a sheriff sticker, and a sticker with the school board. And I have been telling people that I was being harassed by women tied to Kwanzas and other groups. So this is what's really interesting. It was really, really weird. So you're facing the bumper of your car when there's this beautiful lake. So across the field is water. And this is the area where I used to park at, right here. And the lady would come and just take pictures of me. Veterans would be with her sometimes. I would get harassed, like, really bad. So hold on a second. I have videos. Let me see real quick. There's the lake. So it made me wonder, why would someone want to park? There was times, let me see if I can get, I don't know what's going on here with this video here. Hold on one second. I apologize. It's like, it's split in two. So let me, I'm going to have to go back to that. Let me see if they'll let me, I'm going to have to go back to it. I don't know what's going on. It seems like every time I make a video, I start having computer problems. So I come to this place, and I'm about to put the chair in front of my car, and this guy.
So this guy's shirt says NDMS. It's tied to some federal agency. And he's an elderly man. This area is in Winter Garden, Florida, and there were times upon arrival I would be harassed by people that drive black SUVs, and I would go to this brewery in Winter Garden, Florida, and one day I'm with a relative, and some people come in to this place dressed very nicely. Two people sit at one table, and two people sit at another table, and they go, shh. Me and my relative kept looking back like, what's their deal? They're not eating or drinking. And other people were like, hey, do you know this guy? They're talking about me. Because they see that they're doing it towards me. So when we leave, I left my hat, went back to get it, and the guy goes. So this is happening in Winter Garden. I would go biking on the Winter Garden bike trail, the Orange Bike Park Trail. And then upon arrival to Winter Garden, I noticed something really odd, that once I was passing the American Legion, I didn't even think nothing of it. This lady was there, and she was Jewish. And she goes, welcome. I go back to my car, and people would honk horns. I would notice odd stuff, like 38 white cars from Public Works. So I did some research and found out that the Central Intelligence Agency is the only agency hiring out there. Besides that, the NSA. And they have a business called the CIA Cleaning Service in Winter Garden. It's a foreign registered business owned by one person. And then you have a dark web monitoring service a block away in the police department. So I was being harassed at times by first responders. A few times Kiwanis members and school teachers. Once even an African-American woman, the first year I moved here, with a child. And I'm almost certain that she's I don't know if she's a principal, but she has a high position at the school. And there was a sheriff there. So there's people, the first year I moved here, I was being harassed around the clock. And what's really interesting, this guy had an Apple sticker from the company Apple. When I went to file a complaint on Citizens Court in Texas, the police detained a woman, and they said that she worked for the company Apple. I found that interesting. They didn't mention it on the report, but they told people that I know. I had the phone on speaker, and other TIs were there listening to the audio that the police left. So it's a long story, but I got set up with a false report for asking for help. So I'm going to keep playing this. This is here in Florida. So these people would come, they would, let's say I have my chair, I have it in front of my car, I'm about to open it. They would hurry up and put it there, knowing that their car's there and the lake is right there. So they constantly want to do things to make you feel uptight. And then about 38 seconds, I have to go, I wish I had the clip. A man and a woman leaned on my car and we're French kissing right there. And the whole time the guy with his eyes looking at me on the side. So they want to try to make you isolated. They want you to feel bad. They want to push you out of schools. They don't want you to have anything. Just like an FBI whistleblower. They don't want you to have nothing. A sex life. They don't want you to have kids, a nice house, not good food. They just want you to die. They want to deprive you of life, liberty, and justice and hog up your life, your space.
Gets out of his vehicle, looks at me, waves, and goes, I'm like, what the heck? And I eat a meal down the road from this place, overfacing this beautiful lake in Apopka, Florida, and some people surround my family at two different tables. They're not eating or drinking, and anytime I take a sip, the guy will go, I've received strange, started having weird elderly men, and I've received strange phone calls.
Check this out. I would get phone calls from, let me see if I can go back. And sometimes it would come up like V18245. Strange stuff. See, look, V6100. It didn't come out too good on here. You have to really get close to it. But it was crazy. There was a time I went to park my car. I had a relative that was visiting, and this lady slaps on a sticker on her car. She pulls up next to me, and it says Kiwanis. And it's on here on her dash. And while I'm shopping, she's wearing a white hat. Then she goes back to her car and changes into a brown hat. And I have videos here where I'm biking and a lady changes into 3 different hats. And she's pulling a baby stroller with no baby in it. Just a blanket. And as I'm biking back, my body camera recorded that there's no baby in there. It's just hats. And this is what's really interesting is that I told TIs that when I would go biking on this really wide bike trail, wide enough for a semi and 2 bikers to be on it, that people would deliberately run their tires into the left side of my bike. So later on, I get into an accident, and this girl runs into the left side of my car. It made me wonder, because I'm being harassed by high school kids. I'm being harassed by people and kids that are telling me they're being asked to whistle in my face. I got neighbors telling me that they're being told I'm a registered sex offender, that I've been charged with sex crimes, which is all a lie. They've also been told that I was a murderer and that I'm on parole. That's a lie too. So they slander you in the worst ways imaginable.
Fight deliberately. It was the craziest thing, and I would deliberately park. I find an empty plaza, and I would do a lot of research and park in the farthest corner, and then someone else would get out immediately and whistle and park in the farthest corner, and it was just crazy. It was every single time I did it.
Oh, this is nothing.
For years.
Let me hold on a second. I think it's on my Twitter page, Honor DL 2023. It's on one of my accounts, so you can go to that Twitter page, and there's other links, and you'll see it like a long list. FBI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like a long list of Wi-Fi connections.
Go back to this video. I'm hoping I can get it.
Let me skip some of this. I'm just trying to skip some of it.
No, it's like right as I am arriving at a place. I don't know what's going on here. Normally this is done like in a second. So
this is no joke. For like 3 years, this guy would be entering in the library and exiting as I did for 3 years, and he always wears the same suit. I've never seen him wear a different type of suit. Hold on a second. I don't know why it's not letting me. Okay, it goes.
This is me getting in, and then there he is. So I have a bunch of video clips of this guy wearing the same.
There he is again.
Showing up next to me, and I asked him one day, "Man, are you like FBI or CIA?" I was really polite, and he didn't say anything to me. So I got a DVR camera watch, DVR camera glasses, on my side, left side I got a body camera. Because I started being harassed, and I was going to the library to take a course in victims' rights advocacy. And I noticed this was going on for years. So hold on one second, let me keep going here. These are old
Oh yeah,
videos.
hold on a second. Let me see. Hopefully this will come out.
Let me see.
I wanted you guys to see this. So there were times that I would park my car. Let's say it's 7:20 and there's an event going on. It can be some type of parade or whatever, and you can see here these people will come and they would park their car and they would flash their lights at me. And this happened a bunch of times. There were times where I would go to this area where it's this big field, and it's facing this lake, and I would go fishing, and then when I get back to my car, I'd be there just putting stuff away, and then they would come and start flashing their lights at me, and then they would park, like the lake's this way, they would park sideways, so they would get like 10 feet from my car, and they'd put the lights on so bright that you can't really tell how close they are, but anyways, from this video, but they were really, really close. This was all the time.
Let me see what else I have here. So remember I told you guys about this lady, Randy Bram? I would go to the park on days where the sun is like all blanketed. They spray a lot easily.
Me pass
I'm in the middle, and I would.
So hold on a second.
Don't know that stuff. So I'm to myself, but considering what I've gone through and text partners right there, don't want no people. I told them don't be doing that stuff. So I'm to myself, but considering what I've gone through.
These people would come sometimes with one headlight, and there was times I'd get to my house, and as I'm trying to pull into the driveway, the same car would be there, and it'd be a Jewish guy. Sometimes we'll have like 2 pieces of long hair right here and a little cap, and I couldn't get into my driveway. So there were times I'd get home at 5:12, 3:18, whatever, and the same car would be there with one headlight. And then the exact moment I'm like waiting, can you move so I can get in there, they would take off, but they would actually just be parked in front of my place with one headlight. Here in Florida.
Also, I noticed that for a while,
there was times one time where I even parked my car and someone parked behind me, and the security camera shows that no one had been on that road within an hour. So the exact moment I get there, they pull up behind me and turn off my car. Another one shows a U.S. government vehicle.
Strange encounters where once I'm getting to my house, there'd be someone parked nearby my mailbox at a complete stop. And this would happen many, many times. And then the exact moment I get to the front of the driveway, they would take off and they would have one headlight. So it's some type of sensitization tactic. It's really crazy. Let me see if I can keep going here. I'd have these strange encounters with the same vehicle, like where, let's say, like when they're about to pass by me, they might start flashing their lights repetitively, and they might do it while I'm fishing, honk their horn. Let me keep going on here. So, let me see what else I have. I don't know what this is. And I apologize about the quality of this video. I really wanted to do this better, but it's better, but
Hold on a second. So I want you guys to see this. So this guy followed me after getting gas and noticed that he was watching me. When I'm getting gas, I see this car pull up on the side. So this guy follows me for quite a long distance. It was my first time ever visiting Fort Myers. I believe the beach area is called Sanibel Island, so I wanted to go out there and have dinner with a relative. So I noticed this guy's lights are flashing intensely, and he's not an emergency management personnel from what it looks like. He's not wearing no uniform. He's not a construction worker, so I think you're only allowed to have those type of lights on your vehicle if you're maybe a federal agent or something like that. Or it's an emergency, but I've never seen anything like this on a car in Florida. So the intensity of the light was so strong for a few times it just stunned me. I was like, holy cow. So my camera has filters which block out intense light. So you can't really see how strong it is, but it was intense.
Sky.
Look at the lights.
So I pulled up my tank and was headed to Sanibel Island. So I'm with a relative. Check this out. Even when he's behind me. Now let me pause this a second. His lights flashing. Oh shoot. Huh. And I just found it to be very. Now my camera has filters. These types of lights. This guy followed me across the entire area of Fort Myers. In my little trouble. And then when I get to my car, I notice that there's cars.
This was really weird. I had people walking up to me whistling in Orlando. I get to my car, I got people at Florida Sheriff's Association stickers on their car, and I'm being harassed as I'm exiting while I'm shopping in Orlando. And this guy comes up, he walks up and he's looking at me. He says, "Trouble, trouble, trouble." It was really weird. Let's see if it comes. Let's see if you can hear it.
Costco. They have them in most states, I believe. So let me. Did you hear the background? We got this trouble.
Come on a second.
Where is it at? Somewhere around here. He worked for Apple. Had an Apple sticker on his car. Being harassed by a woman. Investigate this. I'm very polite, and I told him I wanted to see if you guys will help.
This happened in Leesburg, Florida. So this is a male Barbie doll. I don't know if that's ketchup or blood, and it has the word "spick" on its chest. Well, I'm Hispanic. I don't even live in Leesburg, but I like to take drives nearby Orlando to get out of town, go hiking, visit antique shops, look for things to buy that look cool. And this thing's on a noose. The county attorney came out with another man that had a gun, and his face got beat red, and they paced back and forth when I asked for help for an investigation. The secretary looked at them like they were trash. She didn't say anything. She's like, "Do you plan on staying in this county?" I'm like, "I don't want to be here. I want to move to another country because I'm tired of moving to be harassed."
Yeah. So the county attorney for the county that I live in, she sends out a deputy, really nice young guy from my age, and then he says, "Yeah, we do investigate stuff like this. And then they send out another older man, probably in his 60s. He's pacing back and forth. His face is red and he's carrying a gun. So I got a male Barbie doll on a noose, thrown on my car with what appears to be some type of ketchup. There, rolls down her windows, whistles, and honks the horn. I've had to in Leesburg.
I'm trying to skip some of this stuff. Well, this is an affidavit, and it was signed by a banker. And I don't show the notarization because I don't want no one to see my signature, but it's a few pages, and I've shared copies of this document. It mentions that when I lived in Austin, Texas, people would walk up to me and whistle, do crazy skits. I'd be harassed by Masons, first responders, police, citizens on patrol, citizens corps programs, emergency management personnel. And then I mentioned that I've reached out to a long list of agencies, not one response. So everything that I've recorded here in Florida, I've experienced in Texas.
And I think at the very last. And every time I go to the gas station.
Hold on a second. Let me pass this. Bear with me one moment.
This is radio dispatch. Someone had called emergency management. And every time I go to the gas station in Leesburg to fill up. Hold on one second.
No, that was in
the fire department was called.
I believe it's called.
I came to the exact place that I was at.
I believe that's the Tavares. I believe that's the Tavares or Estes fire chief. Anyways, it's right next to Estes, Florida. So I believe that's the fire chief for that area. Someone had called this guy, emergency management had flagged the fire department to show up where I was at. So this would mean that someone within the federal government or emergency management in Orlando had me flagged all the way to the Tavares, Estes, Florida area. And the guy came into a gas station just to watch me. And then the next time I go there, guess who shows up upon arrival? The same guy.
And then the next day he shows up seconds upon arrival. This is happening nonstop. And every time I show up at Hidden Waters Preserve area for like.
Hold on a second. So. When I try to move the mouse, every time I go to Hidden Waters Preserve to go hiking, because I filed a report on Andy Bram, where I live at, in Veterans, a bunch of red cars would show up anytime I would go there. And I heard there was alligators there, so that's why I decided to go there to go walk, hoping that I wouldn't get harassed. So the same people kept showing up in a bunch of red vehicles, and then one day, the plane hadn't been dispatched for 2 days and was dispatched, and it started descending really low in the area where I was at, and it circled that park, where the high control where I was at. And I had a Canon camera in my hand, and a lady and a man show up, and the lady has the same exact Canon camera, and she starts jogging around the place. I go back there a week later, and guess who's there? The lady with the Canon camera closed. And she's not jogging, she's walking. So I do a lot of little street theater. Let me see what else I got here. That's the noose. So let me go on to the next video. Bear with me for a moment. This video may suck, so you may want to skip into the next section. So let me go. I'm just going to share different videos here.
There was a time here in Florida that any time I would go to this local gas station, the racetrack or the new 7-Eleven down the road from my residence, I would be harassed. Even when I went to the local city hall one time, I was harassed out there one time also. The same exact manner, oddly, that I was treated upon arrival to a DOD facility, which is extremely odd. Now, gang stalking typically requires interagency partners remaining silent about this activity. When I first found myself being targeted upon moving here to Florida, I was harassed by children. This is no joke. They came in a blue golf cart from this area right here, where there's a golf course, and rode their golf cart to the area where I live at. They're Mexican kids, so I don't know if their father is a cop down the road,
came to my residence, and I was surrounded by a group of people wearing blue shirts in a very rural area. Now, I bike in this area. There's a biking trail right off here to the left that cuts across these woods and goes all the way to my house and to the Publix. So, these people rode a golf cart all the way from this golf course to my house. There's even a sign saying no golf carts allowed on this sidewalk. And they waited for me to get to my residence, and a bunch of people wearing blue shirts surrounded me. And I was told, look, we don't want you in this area. You don't belong here. It's different people that I've never seen before. And then the second day was a few neighbors. And one of these neighbors lives in a house, and it has the city's name on it, that it's owned by the city. Never seen anything like that before. So this is not a HUD housing area. I've never seen homeless people where I live at. It's just a middle-class neighborhood. So I talked to this guy and asked him, why did you guys confront me wearing blue? The guy said, look, we're a neighborhood watch. I told him, I've been living here for years now, and I've been harassed systematically. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. He said, look, we're concerned about our kids. So I investigated all these people that were doing this. Some of them I couldn't get anything on because they weren't from this area. So what I found to be interesting is that they're all veterans. They're all veterans. So I take a drive last week to a gas station, and I turned my cell phone on deliberately, and I put the address to this gas station, and I noticed decided to park in the very back of the gas station, and 3 cars pulled up. Everyone was wearing a blue shirt. So the guy walks up to me and he laughs in my face, and then I see all these people get back in their cars and they leave. So these people do street theater, organized harassment, psychological warfare based on sensitizing people. How they're able to get locals involved is beyond me. But I do know that at one time these people were tapping into like public works, select members of like parks and recreation for the county, on a county level. I had people watching me, but they weren't helping me. They weren't communicating with me. So how can they solve this problem?
Okay, let me do this. Okay, oh crap, I forgot I got more stuff to share. So let me get here. Open multiple files. Bear with me one moment. Oh, the camera's not moving. So let me add some files from here. Home, desktop, and videos. Let me go here. 3 to 6. Just give me a moment. It's just gonna take a.
I remember in my 20s and 30s, there were times where I would just go to a gas station like 15, 20, 30 miles from my residence, and people would just scream, hey, he's a pedophile. They would ask me, hey, what's your name? And I would say my name. They would say, hey, you're this, you're that.
This would happen to me before I moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2014. It would happen to me in Austin, Texas. There were times where I would leave my house like at 8:20 to go to Walmart 2 miles down the road from my house in Austin, Texas, and I would be harassed by a group of people. Sometimes Kiwanis members, Lions Club, certain members, volunteer groups, 8A business vendors, University of Austin community engagement members tied to the Office of Community Engagement. One group, they work like throughout the day doing contracts, and they just police people. Neighborhood associations, lots of volunteers. They were even getting money and having large barbecues. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe the amount of information I was able to gather out of some of these people that were doing it. When they discovered that I was not a registered sex offender or a murderer or a killer, people started opening up, saying, hey, I ran your tag. You're not a registered sex offender. We were lied to. We were using our kids to harass you on a daily basis. For years, they were doing this to me in Texas. Not only is there proof, I have letters of support, and they are neighbors that will actually tell you exactly what they were doing, what they were told, and what police were supporting in there, in the city of Austin, with neighbors. And some of these cops got fired, but some of them are still on the force.
where I would like literally fly across from the U.S. from Florida to California to help a relative move, and then arrive back in Florida a week later, and then drive 50 miles to a workforce center. Maybe there was a job fair for semi-truck drivers, and I was looking for a job. And then one of the employees at the workforce center would walk out and ask me, "How was your trip to California?" I would be slandered like in the most wickedest ways. There were times where I would just simply walk from my house to go to the beach and be told to get on the ground. I'd be searched. It was just very demoralizing. So here it is. We're now in December the 1st, 2023, and I'm still a targeted individual. And there have been times where I've gone to gas stations, even now in other states, where I've been harassed.
At one time, many TIs knew me by this username, First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Over 1 million pages, thousands of subscribers were unfollowed. Messages were sent to spam for over a year. So I apologize for one of those.
I want to pause this. So I lost a whole bunch of subscribers on Twitter and on YouTube. And according to Twitter, before it was bought out by Elon Musk, thank God, he runs it now, they were removing people's subscribers and censoring them if they were like talking about the COVID vaccination, or if their views were considered to be based on a conspiracy theory. They could just pretty much, they're allowed to just do whatever they wanted to with your channel. So that actually happened to me on Twitter. And then I started getting phone calls like, "Hey bro, why did you remove me? That's not cool." And then I lost friends. It messed up relationships. And then even YouTube sent thousands of comments. This went on for a year. All my comments were going to spam, so I could not respond back to people. I didn't see my messages. So when I look at my videos, you wouldn't see not even one comment. Not even one comment. So when I go to spam, I see every single comment from my friends went to spam. So they were trying to socially isolate me. Well, if you go on Twitter, not Twitter, but you go on YouTube now and type up targeted individual or gang stalking on your cell phone, it shows the same exact crap. So you can't find updates on who's targeted. So they're actually censoring people, essentially. They're censoring targeted individuals, people which need to unite so they can go to court and get justice, people that need support. So there are people that are actually supporting this crap through social media by allowing people to be censored where they cannot unite and get to the bottom of this.
People, I never removed you. So you can find me on Twitter by going to restricted75921. I had to unlist these videos due to threats, and if you go to this channel, I put a few of those videos there. It's called City of Austin Video Files. Do a YouTube search. And then when you go to that page, click the City of Austin playlist, and you'll see me talking to the local city, House of Representatives. You'll see my video on Citizens Court, HHS. So I ended up getting targeted by Jews I think about 12 years ago. I knew a guy that worked at the World Trade Center. He had a bag full of pens. He was a relief worker, and he just saved some pens, staplers, and he would just sell it on the internet. And I needed to get some information about a job company he worked with. We were having coffee, and she said, "Just grab any pen." And I grabbed this pen. It's from the World Trade Center, and I decided after a few days, out of curiosity, I couldn't sleep. I thought about this pen, and I just typed it up, the name of the company. I made a video, never made any accusations. I don't believe that Jews did 9/11, but I found myself to be targeted. So you can find me online. Just go to OnADL 2023. I have 2 channels with that same username. Also restricted75921. I'm also that same username on Facebook and Twitter. So I have a lot of videos which talk about, if you can't find me, just search for the name of this video.
Also have a channel called Political Asylum. It's a small channel I just made a few months ago. You can find me from this video. So, I was accused of a murder of a U.S. Air Force pilot back in 1996. I had lost a major case when I was like 18, 19 years old. My girlfriend was mad. She cheated on me. And when I found out, I left her and went back to my other girlfriend. So she instantly blames me for this murder. And at that time, there was a sign nearby our residence that said, if you know who killed this guy, call us. So she tried to convince friends along with police. And the same police officer on this murder investigation is a person that one of my relatives sued when he served in the U.S. Air Force when I was a child. Because that town's a military community. So, he assaulted one of my relatives when I was like 12 years old. And they both lost rank because of the allegations on each other, from what I understand. So, I have video proof that I was harassed by members of the U.S. Army off and on to 2021. And most of the people I've dealt with are like CIA contractors in Texas. Hold on one second. I dealt with a group called Citizens Corps. When I get out of school, I'd be harassed by members of citizens on patrol. Let me remove the zoom from this camera. I'd be harassed while shopping. People would get behind me buying one item, and it would be the same exact item. Or sometimes they would buy the same items as me. After 3 years, one of the security personnel at an H-E-B supermarket told me that, I don't know if you know it, but for the past 3 years, you've been harassed every day when you shop here. We've noted these people walking up to you and going, and they're actually a FEMA partner, and that's why they were keeping it secret. I was harassed by Blockwatch the first day I moved to Austin, Texas. They're under Citizens Corps. The CIA office is just right above them. So the CIA outsources to Citizens Corps programs. They will utilize innocent people that are really good people, and you may believe these people are bad. But what you don't know is that they'll go and tell them you're a pedophile, you're a terrorist. They'll use immigrants that are just coming here, IT personnel. Typically in some cities and towns, they'll use fire departments. In some cities and towns, that was the case in Texas. Every time I would go to this restaurant, they'd come in and sit at the same table with me, and an ambulance would pull up. And then the exact moment I leave, they leave. Every time. I would experience a lot of activities like people parking their car, and then they would walk up to me and go, then they would suddenly run to their car and they would leave. I would track these people down to like groups like the office of the University of Texas Office of Community Engagement. I would be harassed by cops, and the law of karma is real. I've seen some of these people like on TV. One cop was shot out in front of his house by a burglar. The city commissioner here that I tried to talk to, that was with a perp, it's a long story. She was murdered by a burglar. Another cop became an active shooter. Another one a rapist. So I feel horrible that these people did these things, but the law of karma is real. And evil people do evil things, and evil most of the time gets busted, and they pay a price. So do not partake in activities which cause people harm. There was a time where I could just walk out of my house, and then my neighbor would walk out of their house. Anytime I did. One time I had a guy from a church. It's the only time I've went out with someone here to go out on an event, church event. And I told him about this. The exact moment we get in the car and we back up, at night this girl comes out, comes to the driveway and she waves. It was every single time. And then I had another neighbor get this also. He's a married man. So this is nothing about an infatuation. I started talking to neighbors and they told me, you were reported as a sex offender, so we're just trying to keep you in line. So in Texas, my neighbors would whistle at me when I'm with my family. They would walk out of their homes and go, psst, psst. Then they'd walk right back into their house. Sometimes they would run back in. I don't know why. But they knew that what they were doing was wrong. And my neighbors would just systematically honk horns at me. So let's say I'm going home. I've gone for a 2-mile bike ride. I might have 9 cars honk horns at me.
since I live in a small town, I see these people typically at a fair or some activity, and I'll ask them, say, look, do you know me? I'm like, why? Well, here's your tag, and here you are on video honking the horn at me for 9 days and pulling off the road and waving at me and flicking me off. You know, what have I done to you? So these people that are doing this, they typically are role players, small business vendors, 8A business vendors. The list goes on. Let me make sure this is still recording. The harassment that I've experienced has been unreal. It's toned down, but at one time they would come into stores and harass me. When I lived in Texas, I was harassed by an FBI field agent. She came to my doctor's appointments. Another lady from the CIA working with Citizens Corps, which outsources Citizens Corps. She went to my school. Every class I went to, I was harassed severely. My teacher at free.net, the project manager there, is an African-American teacher with a PMP designation, told me I was reported as a terrorism threat by FEMA and the U.S. Army. My other teacher at Cybertex, at the database administration class, told me the city was behind my harassment. And prior to arrival to Austin, I had written the mayor of Austin to inform him that I had been harassed in a prior state by Masons and Jewish people. So they're using Stingray technology. There are operations occurring in communities, and if you say certain things, you could find yourself being viciously targeted. The targeting can be beyond anything that you could ever imagine. And police will always tell you, state by state, your case is civil. I have thousands of videos of people parking their car, not buying nothing, and I can just be eating in a restaurant. They walk up to me and go, shh, and they leave in a black SUV. I have tags that show Langley. I have tags that come up on one friend who worked for the GSA, FBI. I have I'm not going to use the word curse, they shitload, but I did. I have a bunch of videos. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to share these videos about my targeting. God bless. If you're a targeted individual, you may be having strange experiences in very rural areas. It doesn't matter if you move to a mid-sized city, a large city, you may be flagged as a problem. And once you are flagged, and once these people that have lots of cash start utilizing stakeholders, other synagogues, lodges, civic groups, to target you, you may find yourself targeted state by state, town and city by city. So this movement is based on neutralizing people. Their goal is to make you sick. That's what the Stasi did. They try to make you sick. They try to destroy your marriages, your job opportunities. They push you out of schools and say you're a terror threat. They go into neighborhoods and say you're a pedophile. They slander you in every area of your life. For some targets, the matter is different. They're just targeted on a local area, and once they leave, it stops. But if you're like me, and you're like the average typical targeted individual, no matter where you move to, your targeting doesn't stop. No matter how much faith you have in Christ, even if you preach in a church, the devil will come at you from every angle. Typically, these people are role players, surveillance workers, people which have worked for the CIA, which is, from what I've gathered, a very Israeli, transgender, radical feminist supporting organization. Just 2 days ago, the same guy showed up next to my vehicle as I got back from a bike ride, urinating next to my car. Is that something?
Now, this is no joke. I went to this place a while back, and when I get there, this guy comes up to me and he urinates. And then I go there again, and he's not there. It's his family. He's biking in an extremely rural area in Florida, very rural. And I see the same woman. I'm like, for her to get to this certain distance didn't make any sense because my e-scooter goes like over 20 miles an hour. And when I'm biking, I had biked like 5 miles, and then I seen her at 3 miles. And I'm thinking, hold on a second, just the amount, I started calculating the time, it just didn't make any sense unless she came off a side road somewhere. Just seemed really odd. And the same guy showing up urinating. And one time this woman that I had seen prior to this guy urinating, he was able to brawl when she was making advances towards me, it looked like. So I just find it all so strange. So I go to get some Chinese food, and I notice a Jewish guy parked next to my vehicle and do some weird stuff. I'm just going to play this video.
We leave the store. It was really weird. I had to file a police report in another town where a guy followed me, parked his car next to me, walked up to me and went, shh. When I researched his background, I found out this guy goes to like American League. He goes to an American.
Yeah, this guy parks next to my vehicle, and then he walks up to me and goes, shh, then leaves and gets back into his car suddenly. Never looks at anything. Just didn't make no sense.
Legion. He's also a freemason. Contractors, the agency in different groups, investigate a Florida tag CE79TF.
So I'm skip that. That's something a private investigator is looking at. I don't believe the person's a perp. But if you ever have any weird encounters with Jewish people, and then you go to the same place and you notice another Jewish person there, and you park in the farthest parking lot you can, well, it can't hurt for your private investigator to research. He was actually there. I called him because I had been harassed at this location by what appears to be Jewish people. And I have multiple videos where it shows people coming out of black SUVs, people with long ponytails, little hats, doing really weird stuff.
Next to my vehicle, lingering around. So out of curiosity, he's going to check, but you never know. They could have been waiting for a phone call, whatever. So I'm not concerned about it. An investigator.
I'm going to skip this.
So these perps would outsource to people, and let's say I go to a gas station, and 3 or 4 minutes later, let's say I go inside, I pay cash, get a lotto ticket, then I would notice like 12 black cars, and weird things would happen. People would walk up to me and go, shh. Sometimes they didn't even buy gas, like 4 cars deep, and then they would leave. And they're always tied to local civic groups. So I go to a library, and then I was confronted by some people tied to a group. They're members of the Florida Sheriff's Association. And then I go to a gas station or a store and buy stuff and be confronted. The same person may change into 3 hats within 30 minutes while I'm shopping. They harass me on bike trails. Let's say the bike trail is 12 feet wide. They may, and I'm on 6 inches from the curb. They would run their bikes into the left side of my tire. That happened one day 4 times, and then in 1 month it happened 17 times. And then shortly afterwards, my car was struck on the left side and totaled. Really weird, the whole entire accident. So, grocery stores, libraries, fishing areas, tiki bar, and then you may notice really weird stuff. Let's say you live in Orlando, you drive to Mount Dora, you go to Leesburg. You go to a Baptist bookstore, and upon arrival, a guy parks next to you, gets out of his vehicle, and as you're walking in, he walks up to you, whistles, then suddenly goes back to his car and he leaves.
This is all because of me keeping my cell phone on. If you're one of those guys, and especially if you're like an alpha male, like I'm not going to hide from these people, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have to swallow your pride. If you want to protect your kids, you want to protect your loved ones from this harassment, you're going to want to turn off your phone. When you go out, you may want to look at these, like getting what do you call this, Mint Mobile, and getting yourself like what's called My Pseudo account or something like that, a burner phone that's unlocked. There's a variety of Russian SIM cards from other nations. I have nothing to hide. I prefer to leave my cell phone on all day long. But that's how I was getting harassed all day long, in the neighborhood, outside the residential area while biking, when I take a pit stop to drink a sip of water, when I fish, when I talk to anyone, when I socialize, I'd be harassed. They'd even harass me upon certain locations of the bike trail and just run up on me, so that way I have to slam the brakes and flip over. It's happened multiple times. They'll do all types of crazy things to you. There was a time they'd come with these light bulbs that were so intense that people would be like this right here, like, hey, can you turn those lights off? And I'm like, I wish you would too. It's hurting my eyes. So they would use illegal light bulbs on bicycles. I asked one guy, what type of light bulb is this? It's illegal. It's military grade. I'm like, where'd you get this at? Why are you even using this around here? You're harming people. People are telling you they can't see. You're blinding them. Like 13 seconds, they're like stunned. So there were times I would just drive to Mount Dora and I'd be harassed. Or
I go to the front entrance and a waiter would be approached by an older man, and the old man would tell the girl, whistle in his face, he's a pedophile, we want him out of town. And the girl would go, so this, you're being disrespected all over the place by children, by elderly people. They're trying to create a problem. They're trying to promote violence. These people are worse than active shooter threats. They promote shootings. They promote violence. They promote terrorism. They promote madness. These are people that are trash, in my opinion. So I've been able to find some of these people, but I don't go looking for them because my goal is to save up money and leave the United States. The law of karma will come back to these people doing this crap.
You may notice odd stuff when they park nearby you, then go into a store, whistle one time, and leave. And then it's another person and another person. And then when you start running these tags, you may find out that
they're all ex-military.
Israelis, and that's a business vendor, a retired business owner, which is desperate for cash. They're going to say, look, the person's a contractor. We can't get involved. It's a civil matter.
And that's what police will tell you. They'll tell you state by state that this matter is a civil matter, that they're not going to help you. Every single state has told me that. No state attorney, no sheriff, no police officer is going to help you with this. So it's a bad situation. And these people that are doing this, like the CIA, when they're outsourcing and they're in the background at times, they're laughing the entire time. That they're utilizing first responders to do something that's been impacting a targeted individual, and they've been doing this for many years, thousands upon thousands of times. And they'll do this upon arrival to you going to West Palm Beach. They'll call in first responders, they'll slander you, and they'll be the first ones to conceal the reports, the audio records. They don't want you to know because they support their interagency partners. So gang stalking is a real activity. I prefer to call this activity targeting, mobbing, torture, because that's really what it is. They're torturing you mentally, psychologically, they're abusing you. It's really no different than punching you, attacking you. So what do you do in a situation like this? For me, I'm going to leave the U.S. It's the only idea.